Welcome to Black Man Spy. This is the Black Man Spy U.S.-Iran Warcast, Peace Cast, Ceasefire Cast, Blockade Cast for day 53, if I'm not mistaken. Today is day 53 since hostilities commenced on February 28th. I'm sure somebody will do the count for me. Somebody has been doing the count. And we are going to go over all of the activities that have been taking place. But first, you notice Jacob Kaarsbo, Danish intelligence officer, Middle East expert extraordinaire, is not here. He is in Kyiv, Ukraine, checking on my helmet and body armor with my friend Phil Ittner. He's there for the Kiev security conference, which if I had known, I would have gone. But I've got to take care of you. But our other co-host is Wajeeh, the gay lion, who is our Saudi Arabian resident Gulf security expert, who explains the mysteries of the Khaliji Aql, right? The Gulf.
العقال الخليجي العقل الخليجي
العقل عقل قطرة كوفية
عقال وغترة.
I'm sorry, I'm not using Khaliji dialect. So I was speaking that. Use your cues correctly, boy. We're having a little game here on how some of the dialects change the letter Qaf, Q, to a G. And the ones who really do it are the Gulf states. Libya, Libya really does it. And Iraq, I think southern Iraq does it. So instead of saying Aqal, right, which is a cough, right, they would say Aqal. And that's why instead of saying Qatar, as it's written, the country, they say Qatar with a G.
Qatar.
Qatar.
Qatar. Qatar.
Qatar. Oh, wallahi. So quit playing with those letters. Quit playing with the letter Qaf. The letter Q did nothing to you. You guys just were trying to be cool and
people were surprised when I was.
Or you don't sound like Emiratis. They do too.
People are surprised when I tell them I speak Arabic in more than like 5-10 dialects, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
I can tell you, I have Iraqi. I went to school for these dialects. My main Arabic was Modern Standard, of course, but then I was taken to Levantine dialect, which is Lebanon, Syria, Palestine. Those three dialects are all wrapped into one. And by the way, they don't even use the Qaf. They turn it into a glottal stop, like instead of.
Did you learn the Egyptian language, or did you not, my friend?
Yeah, I have Egyptian dialect, Libyan dialect, which was fun because I had to go to Brigham.
That's hard. Libyan dialect is hard.
University for that one. To Brigham Young, Mormon Center of Excellence, and that was an adventure. I did that in the mid '80s, and of course, I lived in the Khalij. I lived in the Halig. I lived in Bahrain and United Arab Emirates and liberated Kuwait. So I got to learn Khaliji dialect there. Saudi, same thing, right? Except for you have your regional subdialect. So enough talk about our lovely Arabic education. But in my upcoming memoir, Thinker, Sailor, Black Man, Spy, I have a hilarious story about how I couldn't pass we were intercept operators. Our job is to listen to things, not to speak. But they have to teach you to speak. They have to teach you to write in Arabic, everything, right? Full education. But your final exam to pass out of the school. Oh, somebody says, turn my microphone up. Are you not hearing me loudly? Oh, okay. For those of you who can't hear me. Volume up. Watch. It says our volumes are down. Let me move to headphones.
Someone was complaining my volume was too high. I don't know.
Anyway, um, so in my memoir, which comes out next year, it takes a year to print a book. My book has been done for 3 years, but it hit the Hegseth wall at the Pentagon for 22 months to get the stories and classified cleared in the book, right? Um, so in to pass out of defense my first time, I went to Defense Language Institute for basic Arabic, which is, I think at the time it was 14 months of basic Arabic every day, all day, mandatory 2 hour study hall. And then, of course, you'd have to spend 3 or 4 hours at night memorizing your 200 word per day vocabulary. It was madness,
Wow.
madness. Lived, ate, slept Arabic. So to find a pass out of your final exam, you have to do a speaking exam. And of course, that's the hardest part for many students because you have three instructors who sit in front of you and they ask questions about whatever. It could be anything. And mine started out with my favorite instructor, who is Egyptian, a Mr. R, I'll refer to him as. Um, Asked me about going down to the market with his mother and would I find some of the vegetables. The problem is in military speaks, vegetables like tufa, which is an apple, right? Right? A tufa is like a hand grenade. So you pull the pin and you throw Remy al tufa. You throw it. And I was like lost. And I go, but what kind of vegetables? He goes, any vegetables for my mother. I need 5 kilograms. Get the numbers, right? 5 kilograms of Moe's banana is what they use for surface to air missile because it's long. Just stupid. Anyway, I was failing my final exam when I realized I had an Egyptian, a Tunisian, and a Libyan in the same room. And my salvation was they all like dirty jokes. And I said, well, they were like, let's take a break, right? And I said, if you guys get some tea, I'll tell you some jokes. And they were like, you know jokes? And I was like, yes, I know jokes. And they were like, okay, you tell us jokes and we'll tell you if you understand the culture and enough. And I did. And I passed with a plus, right? Standard plus, which I'm not going to tell you my regular grade, but I had those dirty jokes flying. And they were crying I did the Libyan one because they have, every culture has a character, right? Like Joha, Joha. And, he's this Joe Blood
Jaha,
character,
Jaha, Jaha.
Joha. But Libya doesn't. Libya was a general who was sort of a fool. Um, uh, is it Abu Fatah Yunus? No, Abu Bakr Yunus. Abu Bakr Yunus. And he was like a big joke. He was a Southern Libyan, a black guy. And he was like the butt of all their jokes. So I made that Libya joke. That Libyan instructor was head down, laughing, pounding on the table. And they were like, get down, you pass. You pass. But when they got the tea, when they went for teas for everybody and dirty jokes, I was like, I passed. And it's true. It's a key part of the culture. So, if you have to understand where your audience is coming from. So with that, we have burned our time. We're over 1,000 people. Yes, watch. Yeah.
Jaha once was asked, "Where's your ear?" He goes, "My ear is right here."
Okay. So Joha is in the Egyptian army. No, I shouldn't tell you this. I have loads of Arabic Egyptian army 1967, 1973 war jokes. So someone says my volume is still low. I am literally shouting. Um, let's see. You can go on your volume. Okay, can somebody tell me, is this better? Says it goes up and down. Watch down. Tell us, please. No, I'm not going to tell you my Joha Egyptian army jokes.
I'm moving the mic back here.
Yeah, I'm on ear pods now, so better. Yes, everybody's going yes, better. So my assistant can turn up the volume a little. So that being said, no, I will not tell you my Egyptian army jokes. We will do eventually. I think we need to do a culture show where we can talk about various things. Because I've talked about the TV show Farij
Yes.
in the United Arab Emirates. And that show is made up of four super characters that are all old women who live in this neighborhood of Dubai, even though the voices have to be men by law. The stories were made up by women. And it was the first time in 30 years I was in the technically when you watch that show, you're in the room alone with a bunch of Arab women, and that's normally mamnua. That's just you just not done, and you don't know how they think, you don't know how they act, you don't know how they talk until that show came out. In Egyptian movies, don't tell you the accurate thing. Neither do Lebanese or Turkish soap operas. They right, and they love them some Turkish soap operas, don't they?
Oh my goodness.
Little old Arab ladies are not sitting around with Ferraris in the parking lot, right? And so anyway, we will get to that, and we should do that. We will have this discussion about culture someday, so that you can learn some of the ins and outs. Farij is written by women, by these a team of women that went and talked to their grandmothers and watched them, their mothers and grandmothers together, and all of the crazy situations. Like, for example, one of them, Hamas, who's the big fat black one, who comes from one of the four cultures. The cultures in the United Arab Emirates are Iranian, Persian. The very light one who's computer savvy is Persian. One is a Gulf Bedou, so she's like very tan. The third is Indian, Hind, right? Omani Indian, and then the
Hmm.
fourth is Saudi African. She's dark one. She's the one with the big fat one who's black, right? And she's like a black chick. She just Hamas is always ready to get you in. I'm going to show you guys a quick photograph of this. Um uh and we'll get started with today's work. Farij is the name of the show, and it means neighborhood. It's like my neighborhood. uh TV show. But super in the United Arab Emirates, they refer to them as the superpowers. This is the women of Farij. Regard. Shuf. Um these are the women of Farij. And the one in green here, that's Hamas. Hamas! And they are
Yeah,
hilarious. These shows are so funny. And
that's just childhood for me right there.
And I told you, if you go to the mall, they have Farij characters, these big oversized Farij characters uh, at the mall that you can go take your photo with. You can get a hug from Hamas or Farid and all these things. And you can, it's just an amazing cultural integration, because you will never be in the same room with four Arab women alone if you're a man. You just won't.
No.
Okay. Something crazy would have to come out. And we'll talk about that Middle East culture. But the Farij characters were in all the malls. And my late wife loved these. She would go running up to whoever character. She knew all the characters. Yeah. That's a great show. Okay. We have enough people on board. You can all hear me now. Wajeeh, it's time to talk
For
about
the casualty
casualty
board?
count in the Middle East for day 53. It has been updated.
Yes. Al Jazeera has updated their board in particular. which is what we love to see.
Oh, someone asked if the mall figures were men. Yes, by law, they have to be.
What is the question?
Nothing. The question was, what's the casualty count? The question they asked me was, were the mall cartoon figures of Farid, were they men inside the suits? And the answer is yes. Ooh, Iran's number has jumped up a lot.
Yes. We can start with Iran if you'd like. 3,375 people killed. There's another 2,000, I think, that they haven't reported from their military. 26,500 people injured and plus, so they're still counting the injured. 118 people killed in Iraq, and that's because Iraq is part of the proxy war of Iran, and they have been officially integrated into the IRGC defense system, so they are in direct communication. Same thing in Lebanon and Hezbollah. They all also have been linked to the IRGC defense, and so they're officially in direct communication. They have 2,294 people killed, 7,554 people injured. Israel, 26 people killed, 7,693 people injured. Palestine, 4 people killed. And then you have in the U.S. military, 13 people killed, 200 people injured, but the U.S. military has reported more than 300.
Much higher. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, 3 people killed. Oman, 3 people killed. UAE, 12 people killed. The thing to note here, UAE got the brunt of the attacks from Iran. Qatar, you have 20 people killed. Yep. You want me to go to oil, or you want to talk about this in a second?
Let's go to the price of oil. As we saw, the Iranians obviously are digging people out of some of the debris. 400-person jump.
It just dropped 38 cents from yesterday. Otherwise, the price of oil has remained the same. Morban came up 15 cents. Otherwise, everything is about the same from yesterday. No big changes. The WTI is around 87. Brent crude is 95. The other important one is OPEC. Went up by $4, 109.
Okay. So WTI is at 87. Again, I'm now using I took the ear pods off because people were also saying they couldn't hear it. So just let me know how that sounds. I am shouting because I'm a shouty guy. And my Wi-Fi here is brilliant. I mean, it's like TV level capable. So, that being said, we've got these updates on the casualty counts. Now let's go to what's actually happening in the war. As you know, there is the tit for tat war on the blockade occurring in the Strait of Hormuz. Unfortunately, let me see if I can find the photograph. I can't use the monitor behind me today because I'm using the laptop due to the connectivity problems. But you know, there was a great cartoon meme on the internet that said, has Trump at like Professor Trump, mad crazy scientist with bug eyes, and it says block plus block equals unblocked.
That was the quote from the Russian. That was a quote from a Russian representative. I forgot who it was, but that's what he tweeted.
Yeah, block plus block equals unblock. It doesn't work that way. It's the blockade is blockading the blockade. That being said, the activities for today, the significant activity is first off, and we'll talk about this later because there's just too much to go through. The Islamabad peace conference? I don't know. Is it on? Is it off? Is it going? Is it not going? Halas, who's to know? It's too confusing, right? So,
1 minute it is, 1 minute it is not.
it is working. Oh, no, it is too much not working. Well, whatever one it ain't working right now. And the latest, here we are, day 53, significant activities. As of right now, Trump said that people wouldn't go. Then he said people would go. JD Vance said he would go. JD Vance said he wouldn't go. Now we're receiving reports this morning that JD Vance, Jared Kushner, and Steve Witkoff are preparing to go to to Pakistan tonight to represent the United States and Israel, because we all know Kushner represents pretty much Israel's side of the game. So does Witkoff. And of course, this also involves the Lebanese civil war, not Lebanese civil war, the Lebanese attack that Israel has done, where they are seizing 20% of Lebanon as a security barrier. So Andrea Rosser says the three stooges of peace.
Did you see the part where they're taking the oil fields also, and the Israelis extended the whole line into the ocean all the way so they could take the Lebanese oil fields?
No, I haven't. But there are natural gas fields north at Rosh
That the natural gas field, that's what I'm talking about.
and there's natural gas fields off of Gaza. They already have platforms out there in the natural gas field. Just north of Zakim Beach, which is, I've been there, literally at the North Gaza Israeli border, about 5 kilometers north of that is a major natural gas power plant there. And they also have pipelines going out into the ocean, which is bringing that gas back. So, yeah, Israel is not just a military power. They are attempting to become an economic power. And if, taking everything to the Litani River and below improves their energy situation, they'll steal it. I'm sorry, but I hate to keep saying Israel. Netanyahu. These are two very different animals. So it is about major theft in some of those instances. So let's go on for what we have today. How do I keep turning the page on this book and forgetting all of today's activity? I just had day 53. Oh, there it is. I got to cross out a previous day. It's confusing me. Today's significant activity is one, the activity in the Arabian Gulf. Oh, Wajeeh, where did I lose you? Halas, Wayne. So I just lost Wajeeh. I'm going to add him back. He probably pressed the wrong button. There he is. Mauritania. Okay, I invited him back. He should pop back up shortly. So the significant activity in the Strait of Hormuz cast a
Everyone's
Sure, son. What did you do?
everyone's complaining I'm loud. Am I still loud?
I hear you perfectly. And I keep hearing people say my mic volume's low. Everyone is seeing it as loud. Try your speaker volume. I'm shouting here, and Wajeeh is trying to adjust his sound. We'll see. So that being
How am
said,
I loud?
the Strait of Hormuz, right now, two separate events are going on. Iran's blockade and its use of the Easy Pass multi-pass toll booth, and the U.S. Navy's subsequent blockade 100 or so kilometers east towards Chabahar. Yesterday, the United States Navy boarded the motor vessel Tiffany. U.S. Marines off of an expeditionary support base flew in helicopters, landed on the ship, and supposedly took control of the ship. While they were doing that, I have reports that multiple OFAC, that's Office of Financial and Control, that's the group in the U.S. government that checks if you're a sanction breaker and puts you and takes you on and off the sanction list. OFAC sanctioned vessels have been running through the Strait of Hormuz and blazing past the blockade. They said there are 397 ships associated with Iran that are on the OFAC list. Well, 26 of them went in and out of the Persian Gulf yesterday, or were in the Gulf of Oman, that were full of fuel, got their orders and got underway. This shows you that we just do not have enough ships. When they went after the Tiffany the other day, and the what was the name of that tanker, Torus, they chased it for 6 hours, and they were giving it warnings from airplanes for 6 hours because the ship was not nearby. It took 6 hours for the ship to get within helicopter range. So, some people are saying I'm too loud and too low. Okay, you guys, balance it out. So, this is the problem. We don't have that many ships. Right now, 10 ships are there, but it's a massive pace of geography. And you can put people on helicopters, but you can't put them on helicopters too soon before they get in or out of range and things like that. So, yeah, now someone says sound was better when I had my ear pods on. So, loudest volume to hear Malcolm, who is low volume. You should come out loud and watch it.
Oh my God.
We can't win. We can't win. I'm going to try the ear pods one more time. Halas. Let's see. I got to make sure they're connected because I turned them off. Halas. You guys are just too much today. So
Oh
demand.
my goodness. Just cracking me up.
So that being said, these ships are getting through, and one of the ships that got through was named the Silly City. And I find that that's a very funny name, Silly, but I suspect it's named after the island of Scilly, in southwest England off Penzance, which is a series of semi-tropical islands off of England. But Silly City got through and is now loading up in an Iranian port. So they did not sanction it going in. They will probably try to get it on the way out. Absolutely ludicrous. What's your opinion about this, Watch?
Man, I think that we have been spread too thin. Our ships are being taken whole bunch of sideways.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have 30 ships for the blockade to make sure that it works.
We don't have 30 ships in the region. We don't have 30 ships between the Mediterranean and the Indian Ocean.
That's but we only have like 14 ships to do the whole blockade.
Yeah, I think 10 is what they're actually using because 2 cannot leave the aircraft carrier, and 2 others are helicopter carriers. They're not going to be going up alongside these ships. So there's 4 ships that are out right there. 5 if you include the aircraft carriers. So that's a total of still 10. Oh, guys.
You know,
Oh, by the way,
you know what's interesting though?
oh, go on.
Did you see that the UAE is taking a loan from the US?
I'll have to check on that. Hold that thought because I want to stick to blockading. Did you
Okay.
know that in 1951, when Mossadegh not seized power, but nationalized the oil fields in Iran, that it wasn't just a CIA MI6 coup that happened first. It wasn't. The British blockaded all Iranian oil exports. And it didn't work then, because back then they didn't have as powerful radar as we have right now. But, it's working now, sure, to a certain extent. But this idea, the Trump people are just a bunch of somebody looked at a book and said, yeah, let's get a CIA coup to overthrow the Iranians, right? Which is coming next. That didn't go off very well. Then we bombed them. And now we're doing the same thing the British did. And none of this worked out. We got the Shah of Iran for 20 some odd years. And that made it even worse. So I'm sorry, guys. So it's absolutely ludicrous that we are trying failed policies. And we have to, and I think Islamabad is going to teach us some hard lessons if these things go then the next day. One of those lessons is this: Iran has won this war. I'll say it again. I've been saying it every day over the last week. Iran has won this war. The United States has lost this war. None of our objectives have been given to us. And the Iranians are not going to play footsie with us and go, okay, you tell them you take all uranium, so we give you big victory parade. No, they're not. They are in a better position right now than they were before the war. And that includes losing their Air Force, which, to tell you the truth, was a resource that they didn't fly any missions. Only one aircraft was flown. It was a jet trainer that got shot down immediately by the Israelis. The Iranians know the value of their pilots, right? So they got rid of all those 50, 60-year-old aircraft, old F-14s, like Tom Cruise. I mean, these were old-ass aircraft. And,
From
Mirage
the first
ones they
shot.
got from the Iraqis and, all these aircraft and MiG-29s that were trash. Iran is likely to come out as a drone-piloted country in the next war, with all of that stuff being underground. So, they got rid of a Navy. They built a couple of ships. One of those ships actually flipped over 2 years ago in port. It took them a year to get it out, and then they pumped it out and cleaned it up over that year. It was worthless. And they're like, it was their flagship. And we're like, we sank their Navy. The Iranian Navy is at the bottom of the ocean. If I hear that phrase again, I will scream. Because Ukraine doesn't have a Navy, and they sank the entirety of the Russian Baltic Sea Fleet, including its flagship cruiser, all of its destroyers. They sank the 2 submarines that were launching cruise missiles at them, while one was in dry dock and the other one was in port with boat drones. So quit saying they don't have a Navy. It's at the bottom of the ocean. They don't need a Navy. They just need a drone Navy and high-speed boats. High-speed boats fired on those 3 ships the other day. And if Central Command had chased them or even seen them or sunk them, they would be screaming to the high heavens, here's the video of us destroying these boats. We have not sunk one high-speed small craft that was underway in the Strait of Hormuz this entire war. It's another thing to destroy them while they sit at the pier. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, why are they sitting at the pier? Because they don't want them underway. They know you're coming for them. They sat in the cafe down the street and is like, man, I don't have to clean those decks anymore. Right? They're all going to high-speed boats, maybe drone boats in the future, thousands of them. That's why they didn't come out. And so we can crow all day about how awesome we are. Somebody said this on a podcast the other day. I don't know who it was. Might have been Professor Robert Pape. That General Kane only thinks with Hegseth, thinks in terms of the numbers of bombs dropped, not the result of it, whether it kills children or whether it kills weapon systems. They're just like, we drop bombs. Okay, shipping. The United Nations Maritime Traffic Office has prepared a plan for a mass breakout of merchant ships to leave the Strait of Hormuz, through the Strait of Hormuz, but only when the war ends. Right now, there are several hundred ships with 20,000 sailors in the Strait of Hormuz that the UN is actually supplying and victualling. That means bringing food out to the ships and things like that. All they're doing on those ships is cleaning and doing basic maintenance and watching SpongeBob. So there's not much more they can do. But the way the UN is going to do it is whoever has been in the Gulf the longest gets to leave first, right? So they're going to do you're going to do a priority of oldest vessel, the one that's got stuck there the longest, which at this point is some 55 days longer, right? They get to leave first. Okay. And finally, believe it or not, this is a very slow news day. And look, we're almost done with the hour. There appears to be a power struggle in Iran. I read a very good analysis that says the Speaker of the House, Ghalibaf, who is doing most of the negotiations with Iranchi, um, are having a problem with the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Force, Ahmed Vahidi. Ahmed Vahidi is the now commander of the IRGC, and he has access to Ali Khamenei.
Mm-hmm.
Mujtaba Al Khamenei. I can't tell the upgraded, right? The upgraded version, even if he's wounded. That means that the IRGC is calling the shots, and Vahidi does not want a negotiated solution where Iran gives up anything, particularly the Strait of Hormuz. It's your turn to talk, Wajeeh.
The supreme leader at the moment, and before he was injured, and before he was the supreme leader, he was always close to the IRGC. He was always close
Yeah,
to the intelligence community. He fought the war, the Iraqi Iranian war when he was only what 16,
mhm.
um,
17.
maybe
Yeah,
young.
he joined He joined the IRGC, and he fought as a commander from 1 year till, but while he was 17.
That's right. And 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 now like
And don't think that that wasn't fighting. The Iran-Iraq War was 2 million men beating each other to death.
my economic professor is Shi'i. I even though we don't get along very well, but he was Iraqi,
Yeah,
and Saddam Hussein sent him to fight, and it was trenches war,
trenches. Yep.
meaning like it gets at night and you're in the trenches and the person next to you, you don't know if this person is Iranian or Iraqi, and you're waiting till the next morning to see whether you have to kill each other or
That was
whether
a
you
serious war. It was as big as the war in Ukraine. And
yeah.
they had the same thing. They had the War of the Cities, where they were launching Scud ballistic missiles into each other's capital. Tehran and Baghdad would just randomly ballistic missiles would fall from the sky. So when you say that Mujtaba Khamenei at 17 was on the battlefront in the Iran-Iraq War, son, I mean, that was a war. So give him
That's
his
some serious shit.
that will set him for life. Thinking about how he did that. Oh, by the way, so go on.
So Mushtaba has the military experience on the battlefield, has a connection to the security forces because of his father, and then he's kind of been isolated away from the General Assembly and isolated away to begin with from the general people. That's why he's already, you could say, I would say, on the far right of Iran's ideological um, line, just to start with. They have already sidelined anyone who's in the moderate, who could be a moderate Khomeini. They have taken them all out and put them on the side and said, "No, Habibi, we won't have you. We need the most extreme person." So one, two. You already talked about the John Wick effect.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
even if he's in the bedside, even if the reports say he might have lost a leg, losing a leg doesn't stop you from making hard decisions and understanding what's going on in the battlefield,
Yeah.
and and having hard commands and demands. And when the IRGC, the only voice that has access to you, you could see how it is maximist ideology. And you, on the other hand, you have Trump, who is
Mhm.
not looking to back down and who also has a maximist ideology. And that's why I feel like when we are bringing this into a prisoner dilemma, we keep getting into the most worst decision making, where both sides choose to rat each other out and spend extra time in jail.
Yeah. You
And
know, you made an
go ahead.
allusion to the John Wick effect. They didn't kill his dog. They killed his wife and they killed his daughter. Okay, so he's going through some serious, you know, God is making decisions for me grief right now. And if you go, that guy will have lost enough. He lost his father, he lost his wife, he lost his daughter, he may have lost his leg. He's going to moderate now and give us everything we want. That's madness. Anyone that thinks that's movie logic, right? Like the way it is in Hollywood. The bad guys realize your white hat is so white that I must surrender in the face of of your justice. No, they do Hans Gruber. Okay. The only way you're going to stop them is when they're falling out of the 40th floor of a skyscraper. They're going to try to kill you right up to the last moment. Right. So we have got to stop. I say this all the time. And as an intelligence professional, my job, my career has been to give you the other side's feeling and their impression and how they think and how they fight. And all the time, every point in my career, I'd run into these guys. I'd run into some very enlightened commanders, but I'd run into these guys who were like, let's bomb them while they're praying because their backs will be turned to us. That actually happened, by the way. Chapter 5 of my memoir. That actually happened. Lebanon, 1983. We were asked, I was personally called and asked what time Muslims pray because they wanted to do an airstrike during that time, thinking that Muslims would be turned to the southeast with their backs to the ocean. I said, that's some stupid racist stuff, right? Guess what happened? Guess what time we launched the airstrike? And I said, the Quran says if you're in Rabat, if you're standing guard, you are obligated to keep facing the enemy, and then you take turns one at a time and go off to pray. These
That's right.
people are, I
That's
go,
right.
come on, I'm trying to give you. Nope, we did an airstrike on the basis of that stupidity. So, that being said, so what do you think about the Galibaf versus Vahidi crisis? I mean, the IRGC are going to win, but does that mean the war's going to restart? Good question.
I think there's a very good chance the war might start. There is some talks that the IRGC Supreme Leader might have authorized another peace talks, but then I have heard that go back and forth as much as I've heard the Trump administration go back and forth on the peace talks in Islamabad. And to me, that just signals that there is a huge disagreement in both sides of the aisle, in the Iranian House and the Iranian Shura and in the American White House. They're all disagreeing about what they want to do. There are some hardliners that want this war to continue and choke the American regime until they come to their knees and apologize.
Mm.
And there are those, and the Iranians are just begging for an end to this war and coming to a peace talk. Meanwhile, in the United States, the U.S. Congress is held hostage by the Trump administration
Mm.
and controlled by the GOP. And in the meantime, no one is able to stand up and tell him he's doing something wrong and needs to step down or back up. So he's going all in and is saying, "I'm gonna bomb the hell out of you if you don't come to the peace talk table." And I'm like, what is this? Someone was asking me what is the next president is supposed to do. I'm like, go on a apology tour. Like
Look,
that's
I've said this. I said this on a recent podcast. If I could get rid of one movie and eliminate it, Thanos like from the memory of everybody in the U.S. government, it would be the movie 300. because they're all thinking they're King Leonides and are going to kick the representatives of Persia into the giant pit. This is Sparta, and it's like the fuck, and with the hot wife standing behind you, going, "Yeah, go ahead, kick them Negroes into the pit." It's like, where do you people come up with this? They outrank you. They have more cultural intelligence about us than we do about them. They do not fear us. They fear Allah only. Right? So we've got to deal with that. We've got to step it up this morning. It looks like I'm low on power. I'm going to turn off my light and connect myself to a battery for some strange reason. I guess that 6 hours of charging didn't help. So, watch, that's it. We will see who shows up tonight. We'll see who shows up tonight. And if it's Jared Kushner, then this game is off. Okay? This game
Oh,
is
they're sending Jared Kushner. Oh yeah,
you think,
they're definitely
yeah.
sending. Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
So,
but look, these people have orders to come out with a win. They have orders to come out with a win. What's the win? What do you think? What is the one thing that they can get out of them that the Iranians would that Trump could say, "I've got my off ramp. We've got a peace. Strait of Hormuz opens. I'll remove the U.S. warships." Right? He won't. He won't. By the way, he won't remove those warships. But I'm pretty sure Iran's not going to ever let a U.S. warship back in there. And if they redo it, then you're going to see shooting start. We'll go back to the regular war. What do you think?
you basically asking what is the Iranians are willing to give up on, and yes, they're willing to give up on opening the Strait of Hormuz for their $2 million fee, and they're not willing to give up on any nuclear materials being deported out. They're willing to dilute their highly enriched uranium and keep it in Iran, but not take it outside of Iran or give it to the IAEA. So if Trump wants to take a victory, the only victory he can realistically take is I open the Strait of Hormuz.
You mean the one that was open before you attacked Iran? I think they're going to this is my impression. Now we'll all double check this, but this is off the top of my head. I think that they just want to get Iran to promise not to develop a nuclear weapon. And I think this JCPOA 2.0 is going to end up being 10 years, right? And Iran's going to go, yeah, sure, 10 years. Because Trump wants 20, Iran wants 5. So they're going to go with 10. The problem is the old JCPOA had never and allowed them to enrich to 3.5%. And when Trump tore it up, they were like, fuck it, 60%, 90%, sky's the limit. Right? Now they're at 60%. Now, the key sticking point is what do they do with that 60% of uranium? Obama got them to give up 200 tons of uranium and uranium ore. I thought the JCPOA was a great deal, but I knew the Iranians would cheat, right? They had a lot of people down there, but they were down in Firdouz and Isfahan cheating, Natanz cheating. So we really, really need to see how that goes. They're getting nothing on ballistic missile production because Trump says they destroyed all the ballistic missile production. Halas, nothing you can do there. I think if he can get a percentage, if he could say, he gets a commitment of 10 years to not enrich any uranium, I think he'll call that a win. He'll say, we got rid of the nuclear, as he always calls it, the nuclear. The guy keeps talking like they had an atomic bomb. They don't have an atomic bomb, right? And none of it's being given over to Trump. But I think that'll be it. I think the Iranian concession will be, if you agree to that, we will do full non-chargeable transit of the Strait of Hormuz except for you and Israel. Right? And to tell you the truth, the Gulf states would tell him, hey, you're going to have to accept that deal. You're going to have to accept that deal. We're not going to reopen. The only base we had warships in was Bahrain. That base has been leveled. No one's going back to that base. You can bring in cargo ships to get your soldiers out of Kuwait, because the Kuwaitis are going to be like, hey, I think half of you motherfuckers need to leave. We got bombarded because we were letting you shoot at them from Bubiyan Island.
And the Kuwaitis have named streets after George Bush.
Yeah. Well, George Bush liberated the country. They should have a Malcolm Nance Street there, because I helped liberate Kuwait City. I'm going to petition for that. Wayne, shout out Malcolm Nance. Chief.
وين شارع ملكمنا وين شارع ملكمنا وين شارع ملكمنا وين شارع ملكمنا.
We're shouting, where's Malcolm Nance Street? But I got my gifts when I liberated Kuwait City. These kids came out and gave me a rose water dispenser, and they said, thank you for liberating us. I was like, oh, I cry. So speaking of which, let's go to the questions, but I do have something. The reason I had to run to the United States is I'm doing my memoir, and I had to go and recover my photographs. And in case you want to see where's Malcolm Nance Street, a couple of these photographs have never been published, that are going into the memoir, and one of them is the youngest photograph of me actually in a classified space. All the machines have been zeroed, and I'm joking around because the ship is turning really hard, and I am leaning in the opposite direction of the turn. Take a look at this.
No, bring it out back. Bring it out back. Let me see that again. Oh my God.
That's a baby. And speaking of liberating Kuwait, this is me when I captured a Silkworm missile battery.
No.
Yes, in Kuwait City. This isn't a girls' school in Fahahil section of Kuwait City, and I have a bunch of other photographs of me mugging around, but I have 16 that have to go into the book, and those are some of my war photos. I have boatloads of war photos, but that's, by the way, did anybody notice? That's a Polaroid.
Yeah, that is a Polaroid.
That's back in the old days before cameras were made.
1995.
I was 19 in that photo, I think. That's Beirut, by the way. Welcome aboard to Middle East terrorism the day before the American embassy was by. I got loads of photos, and you will see there will be some pre-readings for select readers of the Malcolm Nance Substack, and I've got to get a hold of my former division officer, Montel Williams. So, Montel, if you're listening, I need you to write the foreword to my book. He worked at NSA with me, and great guy. Oof, God. When I saw that guy in the hallways one day, I was like, damn, who the hell is that? That guy's got his shit squared away. And, everybody's, and the women were all like, hey, who's that young lieutenant we saw down near the cafeteria looking fine? I'm like, damn, yeah, that guy looked good. I was like, holy shit. The first time I saw him, I was blown away at how professional that guy was. And I didn't know that he was a Marine. He had gone to the Naval Academy prep school, then went to the Naval Academy, and he came out and he didn't go into the SEALs or something else. He became a cryptologic officer and learned Russian. Great guy. I mean, and then a few years later, I come into my division office and there he is, my division officer. So let's go to the questions. First, Vladinator asks, do you recommend any books about Middle East culture? I've got loads of them. I have a whole library, maybe 100 or more books in my house. But if you really want to learn the basics, the basic book that I think is actually very good is Middle East for Dummies. I'm not joking. It's actually very good, and it's solid. And it's good when everybody attacked it because it played fair on the Palestine question. Right, when it was like, well, the Arabs told the Israelis to get out, so they had a war and they lost, Everybody, so both sides hate the book, which tells me the book is very good. And I've checked it, and I'm like, damn, no holes in that. And it also explains in very simple charts and graphs the history, the culture of Islam moving through it, Persia, and more importantly, how Lawrence of Arabia, T.E. Lawrence, what's her name, and all the rest, Balfour, all these guys divided up the Middle East with a map, with a pen. It's like, fuck it, here, you get France, you get Eastern Lebanon. Now everybody there pretends like they're French and, speaks French. Here's Syria under the French control. Here's Jordanians under in a country that was made up. Jordan didn't exist, right? It was literally drawn out of the Turkish territories for the Hashemite, that tribe of Jordan. But who did they put in charge? King Abdullah, who was a king only because he lived in Western Saudi Arabia. Like, yo, bro, you king. It's like, yo, okay, hold on.
Oh, he wasn't only that; he's also a descendant of the prophet.
That's look. Lawrence of Arabia spoke. You do not have to read Seven Pillars of Wisdom. That's actually T.E. Lawrence's account of how he got all those tribes to stop fighting, organize, and take Jeddah, take Yanbu, take Aqaba,
Mhm.
and then go up and infiltrate his way into Syria. And I've been to all of those Lawrence sites, except yet I haven't been to Yanbu. I haven't been to Yanbu. So
Also, after you read the Middle East for Dummies, if you want to understand a little bit why we keep making mistakes in the Middle East, it would be a good idea to read Edward Said for
I
Orientalism.
knew you were going. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that book. It is always. It's a very, very good book. Edward Said's book is very good. Oh yeah. So those. I'm trying to think, and then I want you to go. I don't even know if Farid is on YouTube. But anyway, those are very good groundings in that. You don't have to you don't have to read the 1,000 pages of Seven Pillars of Wisdom, right? You don't. Although you can watch the movie. The movie I thought was okay. Uh, you know, um, although I thought that those guys shooting each other was a little off, you know. They just like in that movie, anytime one tribe did something to the other, you had to die. Boom. You touch my water. Boom. It's like, well, not quite sure that's accurate, but hey, all right, I get the point. So that's a good question. Next, somebody asked if my mic was facing the wrong way. MJOT says, is there any way Netanyahu can be removed, taken out of the picture? Can Israel stand up to do this successfully? They are supposed to be having an election this year. So we shall see. But Netanyahu has got the you saved us vote. And most Israelis approve of his foreign policy, even if they don't approve of him. Okay, from what's going on, Brandy Dawn? Hey, Brandy Dawn. Iran can just send empty ships to get the U.S. Navy to chase them and send all these full ships when the Navy is going chasing. I think that strategy may actually be playing out. We shall see. Vlad Nader asked, did you hear that General Kane had to talk Trump down from using a nuclear weapon? I'm not sure I believe that. That if that had happened, 40 people would have run out the room to get that exclusive, right? Everybody would want credit to say, hey, we talked Trump down. Trump talked about using nuclear weapons. I don't know. It's possible that he referenced them, but I don't know. Malakopolis says, between Iran and Ukraine, the era of the superpower is over. Neither the U.S. or Russia have been able to show actual military supremacy, and that is very true. What you are seeing in Ukraine and Iran is asymmetric warfare. The weak power using the strengths of the big power, and as I like to say, they are dancing between the raindrops. They are missing. You may get some punches in, but nothing like what they can inflict on you. When 13 soldiers is the number, Donald Trump is like, that's it. We cannot have another casualty die, because that means I'll have a higher number than Joe Biden, right, on his last day in Afghanistan, completely forgetting about the 4,000 soldiers that died in Afghanistan. The number 13 is in his psyche now. And remember how I said foreign policy, mental illness is foreign policy.
Hey.
Daryl Anderson says, does the ceasefire end tomorrow? I guess we're going to find out tonight. It's technically, today's Tuesday, right? It's technically supposed to end
Mhm.
at 20 hours Eastern time tonight. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We shall see. Jay asked if we can explain if Russia is supplying and buying weapons to and from Iran. Not right now. I think that Iran will now be on the market to buy the Shahed drones that Russia is making on contract in Russia, called the Jiran 2 drone. What do you think?
Center Command is claiming that the ship that they stopped yesterday or the day before yesterday and used the 5 millimeter, the five
5-inch
round,
gun.
the 5 inch gun, um, and to hit they said that that was from China with
It was from
materials
China.
to build ballistic
Sure.
missiles for missiles for Iran.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You stop that ship when this war ends in a couple of days or whenever. There's going to be 30 of them ships coming. 30. All right. These guys
What
just
I
do
was
not know
trying
how
to
to.
say is that
Yeah.
there is effort by these two countries, Russia and China, to support Iran directly or indirectly, trying to avoid the public image, trying to avoid to piss off the
Mm-hmm.
United States, but also they are supplying them with Russia is supplying Iran with the latest satellite information that they could give them. Iran is giving us, China is giving them supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are involved, but not in the way you're thinking.
Okay. Joanne asks, on our Three Stooges negotiating team. Joanne, you getting big props for that. And I give big props for anyone who will go onto Chat GPT and generate that Three Stooges photo for us. You know it'll be on, or the Iranians will have a Lego video out tonight. I don't know if you guys have noticed, Iran's putting out 2 to 3 of those Lego videos a day. These rappers are just staying in the studio and they're bangers. The comedian from the Daily Show said, he goes, how do you go from being the evil empire to being the top 10 songs on my Spotify playlist? He goes, these songs are bangers. And they are. They're
Uh,
good. Some of the music is really good, even if you don't agree with the propaganda. Okay. So when I'm going to skip Rose, I'll get to your question tomorrow. I'm going to let Wajeeh do something on that. Right? How the population groups. Oh, he won't be here tomorrow. All right. So we're going to talk about the population groups are represented in the Iranian parliament. There are more than Sunnis, Christians, and Shias. You have what are the Kurds? Are they Zoroastrian or Yazidi?
the Kurds go back before the Islam and before Judaism.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's Zoroastrianism. Hold on.
the Ismailiyin, we call them.
Yeah, you guys call everyone that came after the Caliph Ali and Ishmael, right? Yes, I keep telling people, right? The majority of Kurds are Sunni Muslims, mostly adhering to the Shafi sect. However, yep, Yazidism. Oh my God, one of these days on a paid subscriber, I will tell you a story that's in my memoir about Yazidis, that Saddam used Yazidis
Oh
as
my God.
torturers. And what he would do is that an average Shia or Sunni Muslim could not be in the same room with these guys because they felt that their souls were being, and Saddam did this deliberately, that if they touched you or they interacted with you, your soul would be taken by the devil. And boy, oh boy, have I got a freaking story about that. Yikes. Uh, grown-ass men hauling ass. It's just trying to get away from the Yazidi influence. Adults with one guy had a doctorate. There's crazy stuff. There's so much crazy stuff. My career is like a bizarre version of 1001 Arabian Nights. I've got reams of nutty stories in there. Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity. That's Yazidism, has elements of all of those. And they believe that Yazidis interact with Shaitan, with the devil. I'm telling you, I learned some things when I was young. Okay, that's it for the questions. Orientalism by Edward Said. Yes, that is the name of the book. It is a very good book. Am I doing a book tour? Lies asked that. Yes, I will be doing a book tour. I'll be doing an international book tour. And and there will be, I'm sure, book specials right here, so I can have signed books to you guys. There's what, 2,100 of you right now. So I will keep you informed. The book is done. It took, like I said, it took 2 years to be cleared by the National Security Agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, Joint Special Operations Command, and the Office of Naval Intelligence. Then the Pentagon got its little hands on it, and it probably sat on Pete Hegseth's desk for 12 months, 14 months. The first 10 months it went through those other agencies. So, but they cleared a lot of the stories I thought would never get cleared. They were like, yeah, it's past 25 years. You can go ahead and do that. And 4 of the countries don't exist anymore, right? So cool, crazy stories. You will learn a lot about how NSA does things. Okay, with that is the end of the program. We went over again 10 minutes. Wajeeh, you have any parting thoughts? Are you going to tell us about your presence tomorrow?
Well, we just we'll be busy tomorrow for self improvement reasons.
Self-improvement. He's
the
he's having a spa day.
Yeah, I'm having a very nice spa day tomorrow for to relax. The UAE has asked the US for loans, and they are leaning on the de-dollarization as a
Hmm.
side of, hey, you gotta give me money now. The whole world is stepping away from you.
Or I'll start accepting yuan, right?
Yes,
It's
exactly.
blackmail. Trump will do it.
And
How we
also,
could be loaning money to the United Arab Emirates is amazing to me. Or if that actually happens, I wonder if it's like a cheesy way to pass through. Um, cheesy way to pass through. Peter, by the way, asked if they have sexy couches in Islamabad. Oh yeah, the sexiest. Yeah, they're on the floor already for you, JD.
oh yeah,
So,
very nice
okay.
one.
All right. Okay.
Uh,
If you're watching this on YouTube, you have already missed the show. This is a recording that comes from Substack. Please subscribe to malcolmnance.substack.com. Also, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. There's 175,000 of us on YouTube. I'm trying to get to 250,000. And on Substack, I'm trying desperately to get to 100,000. I'm actually getting I'm getting more subscribers, but thank you for becoming paid subscribers. We're getting a lot of paid subscribers, and I
yeah.
appreciate it because that allows you to chat. Believe it or not, I read through all of your chats and ask the paid subscribers. I answer questions all the time on there. And we do have private paid subscribers chats. If this war ends, we'll be having some private ones. Um, and we'll see about that. Wajeeh?
Thank you so much. Yes, if you can become a paid subscriber, please consider becoming one. It pays the bills. It makes us do this full time, so you don't have to do it full time. On the other hand, if you cannot afford it, just message me in the DM. We'll talk about it. I'll help you out. No worries. And just subscribe to my channel if you can't afford it as well.
Yeah.
We always give
Well,
a lot of things for free.
yep.
It doesn't cost you anything, and we'll see you 2 days later.
Yes. I might be traveling, but you will still see me at the appointed time. So watch, enjoy your spa day. Okay. Make sure they use that eucalyptus body Don't they beat you with eucalyptus
Oh,
leaves or
yes,
something
that's
like that?
nice. It's very
Halas.
relaxing.
Okay, guys, we'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Have a good one.
Yes, halas. I'm waiting for it to end. And halas, and bye-bye.
What's wrong, huh?
It won't end. Watch. It